What's up, everyone? At the dining room table, here to show off some 3D prints that I have been working on, and for my action figures and such. Sorry for the background noise. I also have something else printing over there, so we shall see how this video goes. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this cool USPS mailbox. It's blue in color, and this was given to me by Diabolic Studios, who is also known as High School Creations. I am part of their Patreon group, and has awesome STLs. You'll see in a minute a diorama that I printed off of his site. I'm not the best printer, but I do have fun with it. But this looks really good. Scales well with your 6-inch figures. It's already blue, so you don't have to paint it. I'm wanting to try to do some graffiti work on this one. Put some USPS stickers and decals on it. Try my hand at some graffiti if I can. And just have fun with it. But looks really great. Definitely want to jump in and join their Patreon if you're into 3D printing. So we've got that. Next thing I'm going to show you is, look, if I'm not a member of someone's Patreon, I'm constantly searching the internet for STL files through Cults 3D, Maker's World. I just like the searching for them and finding stuff that will go well with my action figures. Sometimes I don't recall who the designers were or anything like that. It's just, there are so many that I find on one little hour's worth of searching, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But here is a foot locker for your G.I. Joe figures right here. And I think this was supposed to go in there where it would open and close, but mine did not print too well. As you can see, I think it broke off right here, but I think it was gonna work on like some sort of swivel right there. But it's got these handles right here, which was a separate part. You've got this part right here that has the G.I. Joe emblem on it with the star with some stripes. You got this inner part that comes out, which is like a tray right here. And then you got the deep part. I don't know if you can see that too well. Got to really work on my lights. So it's the abyss in there. Woo. So yeah, I haven't tried to sand it or anything like that. I just like printing, man. I just like running a conveyor belt of printing. I just love the whole process of it. But the tray fits back in there like so, and then you can put your lid right there if it's swiveled right. But I don't think I did it right. I think I had an issue when I was printing these. But looks really good. Great little find. The next thing I printed is, I don't know if you can see it too well, is this dartboard set. This guy released a bunch of stuff on, was it Maker's World or Cold 3D? I wish I remembered. But it's a real cool looking dartboard that is scaled well with your figures. It's got the little quarter slots right there. You've also, I guess, got the player 1, player 2. That might be a little screen, and you can see somewhat of the actual dartboard. That's probably going to be hell to paint. I don't have one of the multicolored printers, so we'll make do with what we have. I like how he has darts up here in the signage. So there's the side view, there's the bottom where it printed, and like I said, it scales perfectly with your 6-inch figures. I got Crazy Legs up there, but he's in the guard shack right now, but it does do well with your 6-inch figures. And speaking of guard shack, as you can tell, right there, we have Crazy Legs up there. Now, none of these have been glued to get, well, some of them have as I transition to the weight bench. But we're going to take a look at the watchtower. This is not glued together yet. So it comes in 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So I'm just gonna show you the side look on it. There's your ladder. It can either extend out some or just hang down. I'll show you more on that here in a minute. Just trying to give you an overall look of it. Got a little blast port right there. And then here's your door to get in, which is not gonna come out. So we'll take a look at the top part right here, which comes off. These are supposed to represent sandbags or some sort of, resting place for your rifle and to give you some protection. So it just sets up there on top of that. You'd have to glue it on there. Then we have the top portion, which is right here. And it's got like a makeshift handle right there. I love the size of the rivets, the hinges, looks really nice. You got plenty of room inside there, as you can tell. Got the side right there. You got the rear. I kind of wish this was on the sides as well to observe the rear in case you're under fire and such. But it looks really, really good. I really like this. My dad liked it too when I showed it to him. Here is the ladder, and I'm going to show you. It did mess up with me right there, and I'll show you on the other one here shortly. But see how you have these two little notches right here? It would fit in there more securely, but my little top arm bracket right there did not print very well, or it got ripped off accidentally when removing some supports. That's going to happen. But here is the ladder, and I would recommend when you're printing something like a ladder to really bump up the infill on this. And I laid the ladder down flat, and you can see where it rested on the bed right there. But this scales real good with your action figures as well. So you got that. You can just print ladders, to use elsewhere too. So here is the frame. Another bit of advice, if you find this file or use this file, it's good to use a lot of infill on something like this. I printed it like so, with this part down, and it used a lot of supports. So this time, and when I went to take the supports off, well, my wife took the supports off, some parts accidentally broke, and I told her it ain't no big problem, we'll just print another one. But this time when I printed it, I flipped it this way, and I used tree supports, which only went up to the rivets. All of this printed without the need of supports. I don't know the science or anything behind it, the overhangs and all that, but usually it's trial and error with me. If I print something and it's not doing good and it looks like it needs supports, then I put supports. And I usually do auto supports if you're using your slicing software. No need to make it super complicated. Here, we'll bring this one in just so I can show you the piece on what I was talking about. So there's Crazy Legs in there. And as you can see, it fits perfect in there. More than enough room. So there's that. So when you look at this side part, let's get him out of there. You'll see it's kind of a U-shaped, whereas this, let me use the blinds in the background, it's just like an L shape. So the top bracket was accidentally broken off, and what you would do is you just put your ladder in between there, and there you go. And it looks like, oh, see, that's probably what happened. That piece just broke off right there because it's just there's just not enough infill in those little notches. So most likely what I'm going to do is just glue it on there resting, and that's how they climb up. So as you can see on camera, that part is very small. And that's going to happen when you're 3D printing stuff. I hate to tell you, you're going to break stuff. That's just going to happen. So let's take a look at something else. So right here, we have a flat bench. This came in 3 pieces, that one, this one, and the bench itself, and it's been glued together. So happy with that. Let me get you a little closer look. So we got that. And then of course, you got this barbell. Now, next time I make some of these, I am going to make it a little bit longer. And the reason I say that is because on the weight bench, if this was accurate, it would come out a little bit further, about right there or so, to fit more plates on there. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So next time I slice it, I'm going to use the diameter, which is already there. And all I'm going to do is just stretch it out some when I'm slicing it. Because we'll just use these two because they're right here in front of me. Here are, there's a little bit of roughage right there on that one. Got a little bit of some, hell, I don't know what to call it, some trash on there from the filament. So you have this weight, it's supposed to be about 25. You got 25, 35, and 45. But when you put it on there, there's only enough room for like, well, that would be one that I have not prepped. Let's grab one of these other ones. It's probably gonna break any second. Let's see, let's try this in. Let's try one of the 45s. You see how there's a little bit of filament in that hole right there? And that will happen. Let's see. That one doesn't have any. I'm definitely gonna play with the settings on that. Let's see here. Well, that is not working too well for me, guys. So I apologize on that. I did not sand any of these down that I had laying out. So if you can see right there, it would slide down to there, which doesn't give you a whole lot of room to put many plates on there. And I know that's not how it goes, but just for the sake of moving on, you got your weight bench. So again, you got different sizes for your plates. You got your 25, your 45, and your 35. Here is another one of the dartboards. Another weight rack right here. And I thought this was kind of cool. This is the thing that holds the weights. This piece right here printed as one solid piece, but there were supports in between here that held out the placement of where the weights go. But that looks really cool. I'm really happy to have that. The next thing we got is this right here, and both of these broke when I printed them. As you can see, they're very thin. The top portion broke on both of them. But this, the top didn't do too well on these. I gotta play with this some. It's supposed to be a cue stick. And then this is your cue stick holder right there. So you got that cue stick. That is a barbell. Got some more cue sticks over there. I'm gonna show you in just a minute. But you have your notches down here. Let's see, down there. And then you have the grooves right here where your cue would just kind of rest in there. So that looks pretty good. But again, I've got to work on some of these settings. When I'm slicing it, I don't really print things this small. This will probably work a whole lot better on a resin printer, but I don't go anywhere near resin printers. That's a lot of cleanup and a lot of work you got to do. So this right here is a pool table, which it's not glued together, but I've already snapped it together. Here is your rack for your balls. And there was also some balls included that you could print. They did not print well on my printer. I gave up on it. I'll probably have to use something else, like some beads or something, and paint them up. But this is in 5 pieces right here. And I'll show you the pieces individually. But this looks really good. I got some paint. I'm gonna try some rattle can paint. I'm gonna try to paint it up, see how it does. But it scales perfectly with some of your figures, as you can tell right there. Let's get him just right here. I am really happy with this pool table. Exceptionally happy. So let me show you the pieces that it comes in. So there's the legs right there. Some more pool cues. So you got this piece right here, which I'm gonna leave that black, or I might do that brown. I'm not really sure. Again, you can see where I haven't cleaned these up yet. And then I got some green paint to mimic the felt, and it just fits right on in there. Then you have this base piece to which your legs just go in, and I'm gonna glue those to keep it more sturdy. And now you have a pool table. So again, more world building for your action figures and such. So let's take a look at a couple of these other things right quick. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. I've just been having stuff stacking up on the ready table, but I just haven't done it yet. So, before we jump into the other thing, let's get some of this out of the way. If you've been watching, I think it's like Lowe's and Home Depot or miniature sites and stuff, they came out with those storage bins that people were hunting for. Well, of course, tons of people went out and designed a bunch of them. And I just played with the settings and just had a good time with it. Of course, storage containers come in several sizes. In fact, I have one. It's not the yellow top. I forgot what brand it is, but I got it at Home Depot. That is the same height as this in real world, but it's a little bit wider. It fits like your holiday decorations. But of course, you're not gonna have a bunch of these stacked up with your action figures. So I printed these all in my black matte. I usually print with the black matte on everything because I only have a single color printer. And I just stick with the black and paint stuff if I need to. So the lids were all painted and then sealed, but it gives it that nice black and yellow look. The lids do come off, as you can see right there, and then they snap back on. So they're real good containers. In fact, I'm going to take this one to put on my desk because a lot of people like seeing some of the stuff I 3D print, and that'll catch their eyes and it'll hold some paper clips. So that same thing, I just had fun and did several different sizes of these. So I dropped it down to this, and we'll get Crazy Legs over here just to give you an idea. And it opens and closes the same, just like the other one I just showed you. So that one's a little bit bigger, not much, but a little bit. These two sizes work out great. This one is the one, I believe, yeah, this is the one where I got the dimensions off the actual manufacturer's site on Home Depot of these yellow top storage containers. And then I went into a 1/12 scale calculator and reduced it from a normal 1:1 scale into a 1/12 scale. And it was real easy to do, but this one is the most accurate in terms of the actual container. But of course, when I was, just trying to eyeball some settings, this one's a little bit smaller. But if you have them all stacked up, it's not going to really make a big difference on these two sizes. However, these come in multiple different sizes, so I was happy with that. Again, I apologize for the long video, y'all. Let's see. The other thing I'm going to show you is this back part. It did have two little cabinet handles right here. They didn't last long. They just didn't print very well. When you're printing some small stuff with a certain percentage of infill, the littler things tend to break a lot easier. But I can make some handles of some sort and put on there. But this is a bar background, or it can be a bookcase, whatever you want it to be. But it's supposed to be the back end of a bar with some, alcoholic beverages stacked in there. But again, when you're slicing stuff, as you can see, it's this thin right here because it's just supposed to fit behind a figure. But you can make this a whole lot bigger, wider when you're slicing stuff. So this actual shelf could actually come all the way out and have deeper shelves and such. But you are going to have it looks like a big cabinet down here that is inoperable. You're not going to be able to open it, but it will mimic that. But I think this turned out well. I had a good time printing it. I printed it down like this. It was a little bit easier for things to happen. And yeah, it turned out real well. So I'm happy with that as well. I said well like 20 times. I suck at this. I just like showing folks some of the stuff I made. All right, so these doors right here came from Diabolic Studios Patreon. And when I did with the handles, they came off during printing on both of mine. I don't know what my settings were. It's definitely my fault, not the file's fault. But me and my wife just kind of glued them back on there, which in any case, I told her, would it be easier to paint that since they came off? Then you got like a deadbolt lock right there. And if it's on that diorama, which we'll show here shortly, just wanted to get the doors out of the way. It's got a nice window right here for the door because this is like a shop. And he even included a crevice, I guess that's what you would call it, a crevice, a notch to put some acrylic sheets or action figure plastic could work there. And if you watch Vasco Toys, why did I have a brain fart? Vasco Toys, he utilizes from the dollar store some sort of cutting mats that he gets from Dollar Tree or something, I believe. And those make good looking, frosted looking windows, and they'll work great as well. So here are some more doors. This one I printed, it didn't have the handle. This was like their first version, I believe. I could be wrong on that. I'm not really sure. But I just like printing doors and stuff, because you could take a door and put it against styrofoam if you want, and it's a door to an unknown world. And then these are like your emergency doors that you would push right here with an exit sign up above it. These are usually like stainless steel sometimes, but you can see it scales perfect with your figure right there. A little word to the wise, if you're doing doors, the best dimensions from a lot of people I've watched have suggested 7 inches high, 3 inches across. And the reason that they say that is because when you go to buy a door for your house, it's usually 7 feet by 3 feet. Again, it's 1/12 scale. So for every inch, it's represents 1 foot. So 7 inches would represent 7 feet. So you got those two right there. Now the thing that I'm most excited to show, oh, and another thing, I found these on Amazon. They're like some sort of stickers, but they look like wood floors. So that was cool. And I'm gonna try to use these. But that ain't what the video's about. So here, let's see if we can make some room right here. Here is the actual, one of the diorama pieces I printed from Diabolic Studios Patreon. And let's get crazy legs. Like he's stepping out. Just to give you an idea of what the scale looks like. So that's him coming out what would be the door. So my printer is right there, and it is a FlashForge 5M Pro. And I want to say the bed is either 225 by 225 or 250 by 250. I can't recall, but it's not a big printer compared to what some people have. So with this diorama, and I'm having to use, I had problems, not because of the piece, but because of the slicing software. I used to use with FlashForge Flash Print, and then they went to something called Flash Orca or Orca Flash, and then they went to another thing called Flash Studio. And look, I'm learning again how to use software because they changed it, and sometimes that's not fun. But with this piece right here, if I had a big printer, it would just print it as is. I don't have a big printer, so I chopped this up into, let's see, 1, 2, I think 6 pieces total, and then I glued them together. My gluing capabilities are not the best, but I definitely want to show you what this looks like. So I haven't got into the meat of it, and I see that there's holes right here, and well, that didn't turn out well. Let's get another door. And you can see the life of 3D printing is trial and error, because that door, that's why I kept this, was to show it, and then I forgot until I went to use it. It warped on me, did not do well. So I suggest you use a brim or some sort of adhesion on your stuff. Otherwise, that will happen to you. So there is a hole there and a hole there. Let me put my glasses on. Right there, there's a hole, and I'm assuming there's a hole up there. So I'm thinking you put something in there and it will help it stay a little bit. I'm not the best with this, but that's how the door would look. And I think my measurements are off. I don't know, but that's what it looks like right there. And again, this was my first attempt at chopping something up, so I did the best I could. So you got this little place for a window right here. Got your door frame right here. And then you got the storefront right here. And when I cut it, you can see in the slicing software, when I cut it, I went down and I went a little too close right there, because you can see it was like finely cut onions right there, just slicing it down. So that was a little cumbersome on gluing together, but it worked out. So we got this side right here. And again, my bricks don't match up because I was cutting, going back into the slicer, coming back out. I didn't think about that. And when I was gluing these together, my bricks separated a little bit. And you got those filament hairs and strings, they'll eventually come off. I just have not tried to work on this yet, but this was so cool to do a diorama piece on my 3D printer. Here is the back end. You can see my gluing skills are not the best. So over here, got a wall, and then you got, a lot of different textures and framework from the store, and it looks really good. Could it be better? Yes. On their part? No. On my part? Yes. The canvas is there, the paint is there. I just can't paint very well. But yeah, I'm super ecstatic with that diorama piece. It's gonna be fun to customize it. It's gonna be kind of war-torn because it's just in bad looking shape because of my gluing and cutting skills. But this is life of 3D printing, is finding files, supporting people on their Patreons, printing, painting, and just having a good time with your action figures. I apologize for the long video. These pieces were stacking up. I kept putting it off, but here we are. Hope you liked it. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the crazy YouTube stuff. And thanks again for watching. Later.